All right. It looks like we are at it again live. And we're going to go live on the TikTok right now. We are going to do a double feature today. All right, cool. So we are live. Today is Wednesday. And today's title is going to be How I Set Up My Premiere Pro Workspace to Edit Faster and Stay Organized. So we're going to go over a few of the tabs and how I literally set it up, because as you see on the screen that I'm sharing right now, this is not how the default workspace in Premiere Pro. I actually have it specifically set up this way to work in my system right now. And I have a two-screen setup showing you literally I guess this could be considered one screen setup, because I want to just share my first screen, and I'm going to take it from there. So your workspace in Premiere Pro, it shouldn't slow you down. It should actually make things a lot faster. And obviously, it's going to be different for most people. And some people just like to share other ideas, right? That makes it work for them. So it's all about workflow. So I'm showing you how I set up mine to edit faster, stay focused, and avoid getting lost in 1,000 panels. All right. And we're going to go over that. So we're going to start off with why the workspace matters more than you think, right? So if I go up here to my Premiere Pro tabs and I click on, you see it's File, Edit Clip, Sequence Markers, Graphic Titles. I could go to Window, and you'll see the first choice is Workspaces, and it'll show you, say, all panels, assembly, audio, captions, and graphics. And those first ones are just the kind of like default panels that already kind of show up, whether you want to work specifically on the captions and graphics, the colors, effects, whatever, right? Audio. Extensions is here. And then in the rest of the choices, you'll see like the different panels that you'll have. So audio clip mixer, and the ones that are checked on there are the ones that I already have set up for me. And I'll show you kind of guys kind of how I set mines up, right? I would say that me as a beginner, I used just the default layout, and that was kind of like my go-to for a while until I learned the program. And then obviously I started using more panels than others, and then I kind of set it up in a way where it just kind of fit my workflow, right? It also leads to, well, using the default panel has like most of the panels already kind of popping out at you. So it just kind of leads to like clutter and then a lot of panel switching that they're not easily accessible. And it's also kind of distracting in a way. And just remember, like a clean, personalized layout, it's a lot smoother, it's less fatigue, and it's less of a burden having to look at it. You know what I mean? So, the difference between a beginner and a pro editor, it often starts with how they set up their workspace. So just make sure that your workspace is working for you and your workflow, right? Let's go ahead. So let's start out here. Let's walk through the personal Premiere Pro layout. So right here I have my kind of like 3 windows up top, as you could see, and then I have my timeline right here in the bottom. So first 3, I kind of separate them into 3 different categories. So the first window, and before I even go there, let me just show exactly what it is. So as you can see, my timeline is set up almost exactly like it fills up, I would say, 50% of the screen. Now, if you do that in Workspaces, if you go to just let's say, for example, let's go to the editing default one. So this is what you see when you open Premiere Pro. These are just the default ones. I'm actually, let me see if I can make it so it's like really, let's go to assembly. There we go. So that's one of the first ones. It's just a regular layout, and I'm going to show you exactly how I set it up for mine. So what I want to do is the project tab is the ones where you get all the footage, all the audio, right? So we're going to go to this panel right here, and as you can see, media browsers in there, markers, audio clip mixer, libraries, and all that good stuff. So let's start off with eliminating the ones that we don't use all the time, right? So the markers, you don't need those right off the bat, so let's eliminate those. That's only unless you use markers on the timeline, so we're going to close that panel. That's how you do that little sandwich thing. media browser. On some cameras, you do need to import this way. This is the only way to import. And there's libraries. Let's take away libraries, close panel. Okay. So what I want to do is actually extend my panel here, right? So this is my timeline right there. What I'm going to do is actually, what you can do is, let's say I want to make this window right here, the program, which shows you exactly what's on the timeline. And the source is what's media is up here in the project, right? So let's say, for example, this is this video that I clip right here. This is the source video, right? So that's what's going to show there. But I want these two windows to be all the way on my right side. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to click that little cheeseburger thing, 3 lines. I'm going to undock panel, right? And what it does is that it makes it into its independent window. So it's right here, boom, free flowing. And then what I'm going to do is, if I hover over it like this and I see my mouse, there's like a small little square window. What I'm going to do is click on that and I'm going to drag it. And as you can see, it's highlighting all the different ones. In the middle, it turns purple, and then on the side, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in this window, and the top one right there turns purple. Boom. Excellent. I'm just going to resize that a little bit. There we go. Awesome. All right. And then let's say this one right here, I want to make it a bit smaller. So I'm going to undock this one. Let's do the audio clip mixer. I'm going to bring it into my second one, right? So the same thing, undock panel, and then hover over that little mouse square, bring it right here. Awesome. So I have these two right there. And I'm going to actually undock this program one in the middle, undock. And then I'm going to hover over it and then put it right here on that side. Now, as you can see while I'm doing that, like, let's use this one. So I'm going to undock this guy right here. And I want to bring it to, see that it lights up that side right there. So what that basically is that it means that you're going to set it up right next to it, right? So it's going to go right in between, boom, right? So let's say we don't want to do that. Undock again. Let's take it out of there. And I want to not put it in the middle. I want to put it kind of, this means that it's going to go on top, to the right, on the bottom, in between whatever the next one is, and then on the side, right? So that's what it's going to do. We're going to leave it right here in this one on the top. Awesome. Cool. So right there, we squeeze this one in. Boom. All right. Let me actually resize this one a little bit more. I'm going to undock this project one because I want to make it a little bit smaller on the top. So I'm going to undock it. And since that was the furthest one on the left, right, I kind of wanted to go on the left side. Remember those 3 windows that I said in the beginning? So if I want it on the left side, I'm going to wait till it highlights the purple right here on the left side. And then boom, up top. Awesome. And then I just kind of resize this. Resize the one in the middle. Dynamite. Boom. It almost looks similar to exactly what I had from the one that I made, right? And let's say I want to add extra windows. For example, I want the effects panel to be right in the middle. So what I'm going to do is go to window and look at all these that I have, right? So I want the effects one. So it's in alphabetical order. So I want the effects window to pop up, and there it is. And it pops up very inconveniently on the left, right? So what do? Same thing. We're going to undock that, bring this guy. We want it in the middle. So we're going to put it up top. Make sure if you put it right here on this highlight, it's just going to squeeze it between the top layer and that window, but we want it to be in that window already. So we just wait till it does that far rectangle right there, and then boom. Awesome. We have it. All right, let's go again with, so we're stacking them right. We're resizing them. We're going over that. And again, this is let me just show you exactly, like, let's add this window. These are the ones that I really use all the time, right? So let's say effects control. I want that guy in there, but I don't want it like that. So I'm going to undock it, hover over it, and I want this guy to be in the project panel one, right? Boom. All right, so we got it right there. So now we have all the project stuff on the left, and then we have the effects and all the different things in the middle, and then we have the source. And actually, yeah, the source and the program windows on the right, right? So let's say, for example, we want the properties. to be on the middle. The same thing. Undock it, hover over a little square, put it in the middle panel, dynamite. And that's basically that. All right. So this is exactly what I open, close, and rearrange when I start every project. But let's say that you don't want this to happen every single time that you open the program, right? You're like, man, all this stacking and resizing, I just don't want to do it, man. It just takes a really long time. I just want to get right to it. So, this is a perfect example. So go back to the screen share, and then I'm gonna resize this little volume right here. Volume level, audio level. So I'm gonna squeeze that. I still want that. I want to completely eliminate it, but I'm gonna squeeze it all the way in there, right? For me personally, I like to have the timeline take up as much room as possible. That's why you'll see a lot of these, widescreen monitors that kind of like they just go all the way across, and then that's the ones that sometimes they'll have just the timeline on those, right? So we're not gonna do that. H Town invites you to co-host. I'm reading some stuff on TikTok. I don't know who H Town is, man. I'm just gonna decline that. All right. Live on YouTube. Yes, I'm live on YouTube. This is just everybody who's going on who is on TikTok. If you want to follow along, go on YouTube and you can see exactly what I'm sharing in my screen. Dynamite. All right, so let's keep going. Now we're gonna go to, let's say I want to add something else. I want my Lumetri colors. Pop that window up. It goes all the way to the right, but I want it right in the middle. So what I'm gonna do, click that 3 lines, undock panel, and then bring it right to the middle, and then awesome, it's right there. Let's say I don't want properties, right? So what I do, simple, you have the option, if you click that little 3 lines, it's gonna say close, undock, panel, close other panels and groups, panel group settings. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close it. And that just pretty much eliminates it, right? So like back to what I was saying, if I don't wanna redo this again, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go to Window tab, again, all the way in the top, and then I'm gonna go to Workspaces, right? And what I'll have is the option all the way down, and it's gonna say save as new workspace. So just for this sake of this tutorial, well, let's see, there's edit workspaces on the bottom, import workspace from projects, right? So we're gonna do a save as new workspace. You're gonna click on that and you're gonna title this, let's put it, just for right now, we're gonna go label it live stream setup, right? Press OK. Now it's saved, right? So let's say it just happens to go ahead and open up again, in a different panel or in like a different, whatever default one that it just pops up with all these different windows. You go back to window, go to workspaces, and then it'll have it right here. Live stream setup, along with all the other, default panels or workspaces, right? And this is one that I have already set up, OJH. I have one for 2 screens, as you can see. So what that means is just basically my program monitor, the one that I see all the time, is all the way in a different monitor. So I'll have that completely set up that way. And then everything else will be right here. So there's some more space to work with the different panels. And let's say, for example, the awesome one here that this has that I actually use all the time, and I actually haven't tweaked it yet, is the vertical one. So if I'm going to do a reel or anything like that, I'll click on that, and then you'll see it'll pop up right there at the end as a vertical format, right? Like if I want to do a reel, a social, it'll pop vertical. And all the other windows, it kind of just automatically sets it up like so. You won't have as much of the timeline, but nonetheless, you could set it up and fix this however you want it, and then go ahead and go back to the window and workspaces and save as a new workspace. All right. Easy enough, right? Let's keep going. So you could even go as far as to make all these, like you could create a real edit layout which is just that. You can make one for, like, for example, a client color layout where you just specifically have it set up to have the windows just for color. Like you have a couple like Lumetri tabs on one side, and then the monitor that you're fixing with the colors on the other side, and then a reference guide in the middle. You can have it that way. Just don't force just one. Don't limit yourself to one workspace to do everything. So let me repeat that. Don't force one workspace to do everything. You can set it up however you want, whether you want just the audio and then you have a specific workspace for that. It all depends on your monitor size, how much you have to work with. So you could go ahead and set up however you want. Easy enough. All right, let's keep going. I showed you how to float or dot key panels, customize the toolbar. In other words, just keep whatever you see right here. So I have a bunch of different ones for the different sounds. One panel. This is, I would say this is like my all everything at once panel. And let's see, smaller screens, but again, it depends on what monitor you have. So let me go back to Window, Workspace, and then I'll go to my regular space, and that's 1020 by 1080. I'm sorry, 1920 by 1080, and I'll go back to that. See, and let's say, and if you're editing on a laptop, stacking your panels smartly gives you, super speed in tight spaces. So again, all depends what you're working out of. Right now, I have just 2 different monitors and then a laptop, which I use as an extra monitor. So it's 3 different ones. Again, you have it exactly however you want to go ahead and edit it yourself. So if you're editing in the default workspace right now, take 5 minutes after this and set it up your way. All right. You'll thank yourself. And if you want my workspace, just review the video again and you'll see exactly how I have it. And you'll see it right here. There's little arrows. It'll show you all the different ones I have in the middle. This is my all-in-one workspace, right? So source, monitor, and program window in one. Everything else that I need on the other side. Huge amount of space for just the timeline. And that's it. And if you have your own workspace that you want to share, just comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this completely stinks. And let me know what you have, and maybe I can learn something from you. So again, thank you for watching. This is your boy O.